Welcome back everyone to Lore of the Shadow, where today we are heading into Tir Gorthad. It looks like I made it there, where I need to find the southeastern reaches of Tir Gorthad to finish reading this information about the Grey Fear. And it looks like we've got a couple of stray birds here. We've got some spirits over here. We'll deal with them. And while I was getting ready to start here, I remembered I had a couple of quests I never completed because I wasn't in the mood at the time to come back to this area. So I need to collect lichen on the standing stones. This appears to be the location about which Narndir wrote. Well, yes, and here is our obligatory ranger. Now let's read what we need to read. I'm sure it's terrible. Oh yeah, it's terrible. It has the Witch King there. The writing is so evocative that you could almost imagine the horrors that might have transpired. The Witch King, is that? Oh my goodness gracious. It says, yes, the Witch King of Angmar. Oh, good grief. Hearing the story from him, yeah. I don't think this is going to be a good day.
After Hrudau's most recent defeat, the armies of the Witch King required time to recover.
During the time of recovery, the evil master turned to sorcery to bedevil his enemies. In secret, he came to the barrows and walked amongst them, whispering to the dead. Unknown to those living nearby, long-buried lords and kings stirred in their tombs, infested with fell spirits out of Angmar's darkest pits. At the Witch King's bidding, they emerged, legions of the dead moving silently through the fog, preying on any who stayed too near. Ooh, nasty stuff. Nasty stuff indeed. So now we get Amandir. What does Amandir have to say? The plague of the dead worsened, writes Narndir, and even the children of Cardolan were not safe from it. Countless children were stolen from their beds and vanished from within otherwise sturdy and unyielding walls. Desperate to put an end to this nightmare, Prince Amandir set forth on a quest to find the cause of the dead's unrest. He was the lord of Tir Gorthad, after all, the keeper of the barrows. What had he to fear from the mists that settled upon the burial mounds? Was it not his people who were buried there? Were they not his own ancestors, his own kind, his own subjects? If he could not ease the burden and restore the restful peace, who could? Even as I write this, I find myself hoping, beyond hope, that the Lord of Tir Gorthad could put an end to it. But this has been my lifelong study, and I know how this tale ends, and it does not end with Amandir for all his courage and his duty. Well, Prince Amandir disappeared amongst the barrows. He was never seen again.
It is hard to listen to the words of my friend Narndir, and know he will write no more.
I will keep his journal in memory of him, and I will do so even had we no need of the knowledge that is contained within. Was never seen again, he reads as he turns the pages. He looks at you puzzled. What happened to the rest of Narndir's account? There are several pages missing here. Even if that is the end of Amandir's story, there must have surely been more to Narndir to write. See, the account returns here, beyond the missing pages. But what was removed? And who removed it? Interesting question.
I think you should return to Ceylon to speak with Hondarad.
After the missing pages, Nardir writes of Dol Urnil, the keep from within the Prince Armadil ruled. I will go ahead and see what I can learn from these, but I think you should return to Ceylon and speak with Handarad. He knew the location where Nardir kept his journal. Perhaps he will know why some of the pages were removed. If you solve this mystery, I will meet you up with him again outside of Dol Urnil. Now, there was the question is, should I do some of the quests here, or should I wait to do it when I return here after getting the pages? I decided to come back here to Ceylon and start looking for those missing pages.
Missing pages? Cannot say I know anything about that.
Yes, but I don't think that Nardir would have torn pages from his own journal. Someone must have removed them, although I can't guess why such a one would return the journal to its hiding place afterwards. There was one day that I spoke with Nardir, and marked that he acted quite strangely, however. I encountered him on the Greenway, not far from the lone square of ruins that stands beside the road to the northwest of Herne. Now that I think of it, his manner was quite peculiar, and it seemed that he was not his usual self. What did he say? He said something strange to me, but I can't remember it. If he did remove the pages from the journal, which was not like him at all, that is the only day in which I believe he could have done it. I wish I could remember what he said, but perhaps it will come to me. You should search that square ruin beside the road to Redamore. Maybe you will find something to shed light upon the mystery. So, let's go to that ruin and find out if there are secret pages there. Ah, this appears to be the square ruin that he spoke of. I wonder what it was for. Well, let's see if I can find any clues in this area, and if you thought it was a good hiding place or anything like that. A small box rests here, but its lock is broken and is surrounded by orc footprints. Well. Any clues? The wooden box is empty already, ransacked of its contents by orcs, half-orcs, or goblins. Well then, I think this is time to collect missing pages from the journal from orcs, half-orcs, or goblins in the South Downs or Redamore. Now, why couldn't it have been done by brigands, right? I mean, I could find brigands probably pretty easily in this area, but now I gotta look for orcs, half-orcs, and goblins. I'll assume that wolves don't have it. I know there is a quest in the Shire where wolves stole journal pages, but something tells me that's not going to be the case here. The most reliable source of orcs I could think of in Cardolan is Karanost, so I came back here, and besides, it means I won't have far to travel in which to deliver the pages once I manage to collect them all. Assuming, of course, that I find any of them. I keep on forgetting how far I have to go across the bridge in order to... Ah, here they are! Yes. Right, now let's start by dealing with these. Goodbye. Oh, look at that! He even had one of the pages! It's an amazing coincidence that there are only 6 pages, but I happen to kill the 6 orcs that happened. Alright, well, maybe this will take a little bit longer than I suspected. Well, I could have expected all of... Really? Okay, you know that is not going to be good for you. Now, where did that bear go? Now we could resume our hunt in hopes that some of these orcs have some pages. I know we happened to get lucky on the first one, but maybe if one of the orcs is with someone from Karanost, maybe all of them are? This isn't going to be one of those quests where you have to kill one person from each particular zone. Oh. No, it's just being lucky because not all orcs are going to be having them. But I think I got half the pages now. Oh yes, I forgot that the journal reassembly table is all the way here in Skurlock Farm. Well, let's get going. And maybe we could find something useful here. The torn pages fit neatly together, and Arndir's journal is restored. Well, let's see what's in there. My hand shakes to record this, and I confess trepidation. Should I write this account at all? But that is the duty of an archivist, is it not? To record, to remember, no matter the cost. Accounts of Prince Amadir's disappearance are few and scattered, but those that remain chill my blood. It is said his cries of terror echoed amongst the downs for 3 nights after he disappeared, and when they at last gave way to silence, the fog rolled in from the barrows deeper than ever. 3 sons of Amadir had when he died, and the curse that came to fall upon them could not be escaped. One of the dead, a pale shade who appeared as a man-shaped darkness in the fog, its eyes glowing in dark, blank white, appeared several decades after Amadir's disappearance. It seemed intent on hunting them, stalking and slaying them one by one. First, Amonhatho, eldest son of Amadir, was slain. But that was not the worst. Someone had garbed him in white, and he lay before the barrow gate on the downs after becoming separated from his companions in the evening. His face was shriveled, as though he had aged 100 years in a single night. Scarcely 2 years later, his brother Thanadon met the identical fate, though in his case he disappeared from Dol Urnil itself. Men whispered that it was a grey fear that hunted the children of Cardolan, and if even the sons of vanished Prince Amadir were not protected from it, who could claim safety from any? I hesitate to write of Dol Urnil's curse, to write of the grey fear, but it is my duty. As I have sworn to the Dunedain, so I have sworn to uphold the truth, and I write it here in this journal. Chilling. But now, back to Dol Urnil. It appears that the ranger went deeper into the ruins, so I'm going to have to do that too. And part of this will be to do the quests that I've been postponing for a while. So let's go in. First, the standing stones, where I'm supposed to collect some lichen, assuming I don't get killed by barrowed spirits that shoot arrows at you. Now, where were we? Oh, I was wondering how I was going to get down there. How about taking the stairs? Yeah, that's simple enough. Spirits all over the place. This leaves me dispirited, that's for sure. There we go. Now, what have we got in here? Are these the standing stones they're talking? No. These just seem to be pillars. 187 meters. Alright. Now, what's the best way down here? And 187 meters that way. Oh, yeah, those are standing stones right up there. Reminding me a little bit of Stonehenge. Alright. Yeah, that sounds like exactly what I'm supposed to be looking for. Looks a little Stonehenge-ish, doesn't it? Well, let's go in there and find out what we can do. First, completed. Dead Slayer of Cardolan. Unfortunately, the next text is, yeah, now do it again. Right. Oh, alright, here we go. Let's get some standing stones of lichen. Which, hoping there's more than just that. Ah, there is. Good. I have found Dol Ernil itself. And also, looks like I found where the ranger is located. So I also will probably find some whites and probably find some gaunt men because I have quests to kill them. Oh, a ranger camp and Gorwin.
There you are, my friend. I have been speaking with Gorwin, a ranger who keeps watch over Dol Ernil.
Yeah, I think I've run into her before. Yes, and we are both very interested to hear what you have learned anything more about Narndir's journal. She did not know him when he lived, so I have been telling her stories of our childhoods. It's good to remember, I have to admit, but what have you learned? There it is again. The Grey Fear. There's more to learn of this foe, I know it, but listen to this. The battle plan of Angmar was threefold, but Prince Ostir learned too late that more than just Amansul was endangered. He rode north to the defense of Weathertop with most of the household, and only when the southern sky filled with smoke from the great burning did he realize that Cardolan had been ravaged while he was away. He fought the battle of Weathertop through eyes bleary with tears, and only when it was done did his king give him permission to return. He galloped at utmost speed back to Dol Ernil, but he was unprepared for the sight that awaited him in the throne room. These pages speak of the throne room of Dol Ernil. That is where you should read the rest of this account, Pinelore. Gorwin tells me that the throne room is north of here, and up several flights of stairs, and I'm sure through quite several whites and gaunt men will be in the way so that I could complete these other quests, right? Yeah. Ah, here's a good place to start. Whites. Oh, let's deal with this. It looks like the local wildlife doesn't like them. Well, I bring along a bear, so I guess other bears follow. Ah, look at this. A gaunt man. Found them. Hey, maybe I better try stunning him before he does too much damage. Blight Callers. Oh, I have to kill lots of gaunt. 8 Blight Callers, 8 Warmongers, and 4 Blight Priests. Oh, this is going to take a while. And I still have a couple of whites to kill too. But most of all, I need to find the throne room. Oh, Blight Priests. Oh, they're really nasty. There you go. Down with the Blight Priest. Down with the whites. And up with this hobbit who needs to get high up in order to find the throne room. I wonder if this is the right place. Well, I'll find out in a moment. We're certainly high up. So perhaps if there's a higher place... Oh! Yeah, that looks like a higher place up. And another Blight Priest, too. How about we do that? Alright, now you could go over there. And oh, yeah. Gaunt Lords. Got men, not Gaunt Lords. I keep on getting those names confused, and Gaunt Lords are a lot worse. And let's do some of these scrolls that I keep on making to protect me. Since these things are actually, well, the priests, they tend to be higher in level, so they're annoyingly higher in level, back around my level. The other gaunt men seem to be a bit. That probably explains why I think earlier I was wondering why some of them were such different levels. It's the different types of gaunt men that were different levels. At least that's what it looks like. Now, this appears to be the location about which Narndir wrote. Alright. Well, that answers that. Now that means I should find a ranger around. Oh, that's the throne, isn't it? Well, let's read. The writing is so evocative that you could almost imagine the terrible sight that awaited Prince Oster. Oh, yeah, there he is. Oh, no, that's Oster. And that is the Grey Fear. Ooh.
By the time he finally reached Dol Erneil, Prince Oster's keep was a ruined shell.
Its people lay, heaped and bloody in the streets, the heads of its defenders mounted on stakes above its gates. Of his mother, Loiloth, there was no sign at all. And in the shattered hall, seated upon Oster's throne, was the Grey Fear. Now we know what happened to... Well, we don't know exactly what happened to Loilith, because we still have this instance to do, but we know that she went to Goldberry, then went in, and was never heard from again. I hesitate to write that I have learned, but I must. I must. My duty compels me to write it, to write the truth, but... can it be right to put into words such horror, such shame as this? It wars within me. Prince Oster stood at the carnal house that was Dol Erneil, and he looked in the eyes of the creature that sat upon the throne, and he knew the identity of the Grey Fear. It was Prince Amandir who sat there, Oster's own grandfather. But this serpent of evil that stared back was a stranger entire. With a horrible smile upon his mocking visage, the apparition raised his hand, pointing at Amadir's terrified grandson. And the dead rose. And the dead rose. And I'm supposed to... Am I supposed to click on this? Oh, the Angrim Spear. Alright. If you say so. The whites had simply been waiting for the master's command. Narndir writes, now they emerged from among the slain, including some freshly killed in the recent battle, and they fell upon Oster and his knights. Panicking, the prince fled the burning stronghold, escaping into the Barrow Downs. But he might as well have tried escaping a smith's hammer by fleeing to the anvil. The Angrim were waiting with an ambush for him, and among their number were hill folk, orcs, and cultists of the Witch King. The dead drove Ostier's dwindling company straight toward this enemy force, and there in the darkness, caught between the living and the dead, every last one of Cardolan's defenders died. Prince Ostier perished last of all, sobbing with despair, as one of Cardoon's warriors drove a spear cold iron through his heart. His bones and those of his company vanished among the ruins. I have written it. It is what you wanted me. I have finished it. My duty is fulfilled. But the account is too terrible. I will tear these pages from my journal, and I will hide them. Yes, let none know how badly the men of Cardolan failed. I will bury the Witch King's victory as deep allows, and so triumph over Angmar myself. The grey fear has not been seen in hundreds of years, and I will not give the creature life by letting the account be read by anyone. If there is any need for these pages to be done, come, I will retrieve them myself. But I cannot see such a day ahead of us, and that is a blessing. Well, unfortunately, the day has come. Back to Gorwin's camp. Well, maybe after I kill one or two more whites. Oh. One or two whites and gauntmen. Oh, before we do that. There we go. Only have to kill 5 more of them. I've returned with the pages.
Nandir was at Sarn Ford when the Black Riders attacked.
When Nandir fled, as the others of the Dunedain did, we found his body not far from the Greenway, and I thought perhaps he went for one of the gathering places of his kin. But what if it were not so? What if he made instead for the lone square ruin that stands further south beside the Greenway? I wonder. I think he saw the return of the raids and believed the great fear would once again haunt the lands of old, Cardolan that was. I think he was running to retrieve the torn pages of his journal, so the Dunedain will know the terror that they may be up against. He wanted to arm them with the knowledge of what they might face, but he was struck down by the Black Riders, by the Nazgul, before he could reach the place where he hid the true account. I think Narndir knew that peril and died trying to warn us all, the Lord of the Nazgul's plans to raise the grey fear from its slumber, endangering all in the north. Well, yes. Let's try taking that.
I see the hand of the Witch King all about us.
I will tell Gorin what we have learned of our foes, but she has kept watch on Dolornir for longer than we have. I suggest that you ask her what he's doing in the keep of the blighted Tirn Gorthad. I see the hand of the Witch King all about us, and it must be opposed if we are able to oppose it. Will we be able to oppose the Witch King? We'll have to find that out in the next episode of Lore of the Shadow.